Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson and Jim Jonas with another episode of Veterans in Politics. We're doing a live stream today, and we have a special guest, Burke Hall, who is not a stranger to the show. He's going to be talking about the Clark County Family Court corruption exposed. Mr. Hall, you've been on the show many times before, and you
Twice.
Mm-hmm. That's many times for us.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We usually, it's like 2 is the top, and then we don't see you guys.
I think maybe, Steve, you were confusing the fact that Mr. Burke has helped us out with panel interviews and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That means there's more.
Yeah. So we've had the privilege of talking before, but I'm excited. He said he's going to light it up today, and he usually does. So it should be interesting.
So Mr. Hall, the stage is yours, brother.
Oh man.
But Mr. Hall, by the way, is a Army veteran. Just to put it out there, because this is Veterans in Politics. And thank you for your service, sir.
My genuine pleasure. Even more thanks to you, Steve.
Thank you.
You're a Marine.
Thank you. So what do you have for us today that you want to share with the public about this nasty, nasty, nasty court system we have?
Well, first of all, I kind of want to get around to, I'm a all in or all out kind of guy.
I hear you.
So when I'm dealing with court corruption, I don't talk about what I guess is court corruption. I'm talking about what actually is corporate corruption.
Okay.
Now, one of the things I'm dealing with is it's very hard to find bigots anymore. It's really hard. I mean, it's like they all kind of get the picture that they're done.
Right.
Sandra Pomerantz is the biggest bigot on planet Earth. And this is coming from a Tea Party guy.
Well, why do you say that? Because Sandra Pomerantz is a registered Republican.
Yeah, registered Republican. She's a rhino in name only. Here's the deal. When you have a litigant,
right,
and you go up to that litigant and you say something to the effect of, you people always bring your kids back to me pregnant by the time they're 16. That's racist.
Okay. And she said that?
Yes, she did. In fact, this was attested to me by the person she actually said it to. And then I followed up to talk to 2 people who were in the courtroom when it was said again. And again, it disappeared. It disappeared off of the video.
Who she said this to?
She said this to Amanda Mitchell.
Okay. Which was an African-American
litigant, yes, with a white husband. Psychologically,
isn't that the thing now? African-American with white husband?
Well, no, it's weird. Most people think that people are racist, black or white. It doesn't always work that way.
Okay.
Pomerantz has a weird slant to her, as to where she actually is bigoted. When she sees a black litigant and a white litigant, she will always go for the white litigant.
Well, why do you want to keep hammering her when she's a lame duck judge right now? She has not. Her name is not on the ballot. She's done in December.
I get what you're saying. Here's the problem with this nasty goat smelling effort.
Wow, that's strong.
The problem with her is she's trying to get into a position as a senior judge.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, we need more of this stupid going on.
Gotcha.
All right? I'm going to read you some things that'll just shake just make you shake.
I'm already shaking now. How about you?
Right.
oh, this is nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and read what you need to read, because I got a couple questions I want to ask you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Where do I want to start here dealing with this stupid? You know, there's ignorant, and then there's the ghetto version of ignorant, which is what Pomerantz is, which is ignorant.
But didn't the Review Journal do a segment on her about talking about a litigant, African-American, about nappy hair as well?
Yes. Same comment.
So there was the same litigant that she mentioned?
Yes. She made that comment to both litigants.
Okay.
And that's what's frustrating about when you're dealing with someone like this. She's not she's not, there's something wrong with her.
Do you think that she's on prescription medication? Do you think that she's drunk when she comes on the bench? Do you think that she's out of her normal person
Normally
self,
in the afternoons, she seems like a little loopy, like she's drunk in the afternoons, typically. But here's the deal.
Okay.
I have a line of delineation, and let me tell you what that line of delineation is.
Please.
You can still be racist and be a good judge.
Okay.
People say, whoa, wait a minute. Hey, how does that work? Because if you deal with the facts fairly and you put your personal prejudice aside, everybody has small personal prejudice.
Yeah.
All right?
Mine is stupidity.
I don't like child molesters. I just don't like them.
Right.
I may be prejudiced against them.
Right.
But when your prejudice affects children and you will overlook harming children in order to push your agenda, that's where the line of delineation literally should end.
Okay. Please read what you have.
Okay, let's see if I can find this correctly. Make this. This is a report about the other sides who she's married to. She married a 19-time plus felon. One of his crimes, for example, is domestic violence.
Who married a 19 plus times felon?
My ex-wife.
Okay.
And Pomerantz has given my ex-wife the children.
Does this felon live with your ex-wife?
Yes.
Okay.
He's married to her under one of his 16 different aliases. He's married under Nathan PRESSLEY. That's PRESSELY. He has driver's licenses for both. By the way, I have the license numbers if you want them.
Okay.
He has over 19 felonies under all of his aliases that I've been able to uncover in 6 different states.
Okay.
One time he stuck a gun in a 15-year-old girl's face.
And all of this is facts.
Yes, this is convictions.
Okay.
These are convictions. This is not something that I'm just making. See this package right here? This package right here is his criminal history.
Gotcha.
And this is what I know of.
How did you get a hold of it?
Oh, I did research.
Okay.
Just like everybody else has to. I went online to start talking to people. He said he was from, he claimed that he was from Michigan, when originally he's from North Carolina.
And you sure this is the same person?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I'll just read some of this. And this,
Please.
This is who my sons are with.
How many sons do you have?
I have 2 remaining sons. Mom is responsible for the death of our 2-year-old infant, Israel.
Now, how did that happen?
She placed him in a heated hot tub, no floaties, no nothing, and had a cloth diaper on him that weighed him down. He died.
Was CPS involved?
Yes.
Was mom convicted?
Yes. Convicted felon for child abuse and neglect with substantial bodily harm.
And mom has custody of the child?
Yes, that's what she pleaded down
I'd like to know what you did. Did you blow up a small country?
No.
You don't have custody of his kid?
Even absolutely worse. I actually did something absolutely terrible.
Besides killing your child, what did you do?
Department of Family Services put on their report that I'm an unfit father because I'm very religious and describe myself as a black Tea Party conservative.
Wow, that's a crime all by itself, Jim.
I am officially the bad Negro done run off the reservation to these people.
I see.
Right.
I was offended.
So did all this happen before the court case?
Yes.
Okay.
So before the court case, she's convicted.
So Judge Pomerantz knew that your ex was arrested and convicted of child abuse that inflicted the death of her child, and she still awarded the child to the mother that was locked up for this?
It gets better than that. When my son found out that mom got custody, he attempted to kill himself at Katz Elementary. Edith
Wow.
and Lloyd Katz Elementary. In fact, I even have the paperwork from Edith and Lloyd Katz, the suicide risk assessment. Shows how he tried to do it, the whole 9 yards, put his backpack up on the monkey bars, stuck his head through the thing where the arm goes,
Right.
and jumped.
So your son tried to commit suicide?
Yes.
And does the judge know about this?
Yes.
And
Judge
she
is-
still leaves the children with mom?
Yes. And by the way, just to give you a heads up as to how sure this is, this evidence was introduced to the case by the defendant's lawyer, the piece of steaming turd Melvin Grimes. All right?
So why do you think this Melvin Grimes would want to take a case like this? Because it doesn't sound like a lawyer would want to touch or represent somebody that to kill her kid and got convicted of it and then cause another kid to try to commit suicide. If I was a lawyer, I'd run from that case.
You would, except for here's the problem.
Why is that?
Melvin Grimes, along with my ex-wife, along with Judge Sandra Pomerantz, are members of a group called Nevada Court Watchers.
Gotcha.
And they absolutely hate this guy named Steve Sanson.
Me.
Now, this is the problem I got with that. I don't have a problem if you hate Steve. That's all right.
Yeah, me either. I mean,
But
I don't like his ass either, but you know.
But don't let your personal prejudices,
Right, yeah.
for someone who has gallantly and valiantly served our country,
Right.
put his life on the line for this country,
Thank you.
affect children.
All right.
This is crack smoking.
That's ignorant.
This is stupid. It's beyond ignorant. Like I said, it's the ghetto version of ignorant, which is some ignorant.
All right.
This is stupid.
Okay.
And this is what we're dealing with in this court. Classic example, just off the hair. My wife has a father. Her father is very racist, unbelievably racist.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm quoting him right
He's
now.
racist against black people?
He's racist against just about any minority.
And how did you end up marrying her?
But
That must have been an interesting first dinner.
But let me get around to the point as to why it's a problem
go
with
ahead.
the court.
Sorry.
Judge Pomerantz is aware of this comment that I'm about to tell you.
Sure.
Now, he said, and I'm quoting him, "I will grow a tree in my living room and hang niggers from it."
That's a strong statement.
I am quoting him. He hates Mexicans. He's a white guy. This is what it is. So Judge Pomerantz knows this.
Just for the record, all white guys don't hate minorities.
No, see, that's the most ridiculous thing on planet Earth. That's another thing, that black people are infinitely more racist a lot of times than white people are. Most people don't want to talk about that. But the truth of the matter is this. Judge Pomerantz is aware of this.
Okay.
She knows of this. The plaintiff...
And your children are half.
Yes, they're half black. So Judge Pomerantz still allows mom to bring my kids around this guy.
Okay.
Wow.
I think that's psychologically damaging.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, we aren't...
And you have proof of all this. You're not just a legend.
No,
you actually...
I have 100% proof.
Okay.
You want some proof? Let's talk about some proof right now.
Sure.
All right? This is the record of Nathan Presley. All right? Under this one, he does PRESSLEY instead of ELY like he normally does. He has driver's licenses for both. This is a report. I'm going to read this report to you, and it's going to make you shake.
Okay.
On 10/5/2014, about 22:50 hours, by Officer W. Moore, badge number blank, along with Officer E. Myroyd, badge number blank, was operating on routine patrol in the area of blank, 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 when dispatched to the residence where a possible gunshot fired from the residence. Upon arrival, I spoke to a neighbor who was also the PR for the call for service. She stated to me that she was outside the residence and saw small children crying and a black male adult leaning against the wall of the house. The witness then told me that a female left the residence and the children went inside and the male was left alone. According to witnesses, the male looked at her and stated, "If you hear any gunshots, it's just me." At that time, the male went into the residence. The witness then stated that a short time later, she heard one shot come from the area of the residence and called police. When officers arrived, a perimeter was set to contain the area and contact was attempted through bullhorning the residence, and eventually a team was put together to knock at the door. So all this time, this guy wouldn't come out. Once at the door, the officers had knocked. The door was answered by a young female child. And shortly later, a black male adult came from behind her and began talking to officers. We asked him if everything was all right, if we could talk to him and make sure that everyone was okay inside the residence. At the time, he opened the screen door, and I could see by his left hand on a side table near the door, within arm's reach, a small framed black in color semi-automatic pistol. First of all, he's a 19-time felon. You can't have a weapon when you're a 19-time felon.
And you can't have a weapon if you're just a one-time felon.
Exactly. I immediately reached inside the residence and grabbed the pistol in order to keep it away from the male for safety concerns. The male was detained at that time and was identified as PRESSLEY Nathan, ID number blank. A records check for PRESSLEY confirmed him to be a 9-time ex-felon. Listed convictions in scope include larceny from a motor vehicle, larceny over $100, larceny from a person carrying a concealed weapon, no checking account, habitual offender in the 4th offense, felony escape, prison escape, habitual offender, forgery, and on and on and on. By the way, I'd be here till Chinese New Year. The firearm was no offense to Chinese people, by the way. All right? The firearm was a 9mm Smith & Wesson 9 Shield, which was loaded with 1 round in the chamber at the time it was taken from the residence. It contained the serial number blank and was listed as unregistered. I spoke with PRESSLEY about 23:41 hours, and I read him his Miranda warning at 22:41 hours. PRESSLEY told me that he understood his rights. During questioning, PRESSLEY acknowledged that he was aware that he is an ex-felon and that he should not have firearms anywhere near him. PRESSLEY further stated that he knew that the gun was in the house for about 4.5 months. PRESSLEY said that his sister-in-law told him that she couldn't keep the gun at her residence and that she wanted to keep it there, which is a blatant lie. It wasn't his, it was his current wife's at the time. PRESSLEY then told me that he does not have a good explanation why he shot the round from the gun. He stated that he was not mad at anyone and did not wish to cause harm to himself. PRESSLEY's speech was slurred and he appeared to be extremely lethargic during questioning. However, I did not detect the presence of alcohol. PRESSLEY told me he has a prescription and regularly takes Ambien as well at night to help him sleep. Now, he's been opiate addicted for literally over 30 years.
This is the wife's current husband.
Yes.
Your ex-wife.
Yes.
Living with your children.
Well, kind of, sort of, because he married her under one of his aliases, Press Eli. And when he married her under the alias, the reason he married her under the alias is because felons aren't supposed to be cohabitating or hanging out with other felons because of the recidivism rate.
Right.
Okay?
Is your ex-wife a felon?
Yes, she is. Convicted felon for child abuse and neglect.
And Judge Pomerantz awarded the children to her?
Yes. Crack smoking Pomerantz, yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. I hope this really gets to her. I'm sure it will.
You should have a federal lawsuit big time.
Don't worry. It's on its way, and I plan on suing the living daylights out of this winner.
Please continue.
During the investigation, due to the fact that there were 3 young children in the house, I asked PRESSLEY if he felt that it was wise to take a prescription narcotics and walk around the residence with a loaded firearm. He did not.
Seems logical to me.
I know. It's an open carry state, right?
Sorry, Bert. Go ahead.
Oh man. If he felt it was wise to take prescription narcotics and walk around the residence with a loaded firearm. He did not respond verbally, but just looked at me and shrugged his shoulders. Gee, I don't know.
Who's he talking to, by the way?
The officer.
Oh, gotcha.
The officer is talking to
So this
me.
is actual police report?
Yes.
Oh,
This
okay.
is the continuation report. He was convicted of this, by the way.
Oh, okay.
He just looked at me and shrugged his shoulders. During further investigation, a 9mm shell casing was located approximately 5 feet east of the front door. It was photographed and impounded. The firearm was also impounded as evidence. Due to the fact that I had touched the gun in order to secure it, CSI did not respond to process the firearm. The above listed facts and circumstances that PRESSLEY is a registered felon who was within arm's reach of a loaded pistol, and they had knowledge of it being in his residence for about 4.5 months, according to his testimony. It determined that probable cause existed to arrest him for the crime of ex-felon in possession of a firearm. Also, because a records check showed that the firearm was unregistered, he was also charged with possession of an unregistered firearm. It should be taken into consideration that the fact that PRESSLEY is admittedly a habitual drug user, and it was under the influence of a narcotic, opioids, while walking around his residence with a loaded firearm and 3 small children that he may later be additionally charged with the crime of child endangerment. Pressley was transported to CCDC and booked accordingly for ex-felon in possession of firearm and possession of an unregistered firearm. I can't make this up. By the way, just to give you guys the heads up, the event number on this is 141005-3751. I am not in any way, shape, or form making this crap up. Pomerantz knows this as well. Pomerantz, and I'm quoting her, I'm not going to do anything about something that happened 20 years ago. That didn't happen 20 years ago.
How long ago was that?
That was, I think it
92.
what was it? What?
It's saying offense.
2014?
It's saying 92, but that could be the number.
What year was that?
Just go to front page.
Yeah, well, I get you.
Front page will tell you on it. I think it was
okay.
2014, I believe.
Yeah.
What year it says there?
Oh, was it filed? Yeah.
2014?
Yeah.
So that wasn't 20 years ago.
No. But just recently.
Yeah, no, it was, I'm sorry, just so that the viewers and listeners understand. Sorry, I didn't read it correctly, Burke. I apologize. So actually, it was September 5th of 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Pomerantz has this. She also has this where he stuck a gun in a 15-year-old girl's face.
Talking about the best interests of the children, huh?
Well, evidently, Pomerantz thinks that she has the best interests of the children involved. See, this is some crack smoking right here.
Well, but see, so here's the thing, just to piggyback on what you're saying, right? So the judge says I'm not going to convict somebody or whatever, or basically what she's saying is none of this evidence she cares about.
She just doesn't give a damn about it.
It's pretty much essentially what she said. But anybody who has worked in the court system or just as a general smart person knows that there's a pattern of behavior, right?
Well, usually, but unless you're Pomerantz. If you're Pomerantz, you're above the law. Classic example is we were talking about...
Black robe syndrome.
Yeah, yes. It's
No.
this. In fact, there was an article written by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and in the article, it talks about drunk on her own power. She literally has that syndrome. She's just... There's something seriously wrong with her. This is one where he stuck a gun to the back of the head of a 15-year-old girl.
Please.
I'm not even going to read this. I'll let you read it if you want.
No, sum it up because, we got people listening and watching.
Oh, okay. On 29 night, approximately 2013 hours, Officer Hanks and I were dispatched to blank address in reference to a family disturbance. Officer Morton and C. Stuckey were also dispatched to this call. Upon arrival, I made contact with this person reporting, 15-year-old Marquita Currington. Currington had just returned to the residence in a van with her mother, Shirley Currington, and several other family members. When I began to interview her, she became extremely nervous and shaken as a red, unlicensed sob pulled into the driveway. Marquita stated, "That's him, and he's drunk again." She and other family members then ran into the house. Officer C. Stuckey approached the vehicle and instructed the lone occupant, later identified as Nathan Presley, he's using his right name now, to show his hands. I came around the back of the van and approached him from behind the driver's door of the Saab when Officer C. Stuckey instructed him again to show his hands. Presley was not cooperating and was fighting to open his door while talking to himself with slurred speech. As Presley got his door open, he began to fall from his vehicle, losing his balance. I caught him prior to hitting the ground. Presley immediately became combative. He pulled away from me and stated very loudly in an angry tone, "I don't have to show you my hands. I don't have any effing weapons." He didn't say effing. Officer C. Stuckey instructed Presley to put his hands behind his back. Presley turned towards me and gave me a glancing blow with his closed right fist across my right cheek. As I was pulling away from him, Presley charged Stuckey and grabbed him from behind with his right arm and took him to the ground, right arm and wrist, while Officer Morton grabbed at the left wrist and arm and placed handcuffs on him. The officer stood Presley upright. Presley immediately lunged towards Officer C. Stuckey and kneed him in the groin area, and then stated that this motherfucker attacked me. I'm sorry about using language. I don't mean to do that. It's what's in the report. I grabbed Presley by the right leg and assisted the officers in placing Presley on the ground to gain control of him. When Presley stopped resisting, all use of force that was required to bring him under control ceased. Presley was searched, handcuffs were double locked, and he was placed into the rear of my patrol vehicle. Officer C. Stuckey conducted a search incident to arrest on the red Saab. The Saab was unlicensed with a temporary registration listing Presley as the owner. Presley told us he did not have insurance on the vehicle yet. A records check on the vehicle identified number as blank came back negative. C. Stuckey found a .38 black revolver with brown grips on the floorboard.
And he said he doesn't have a gun.
Yes. This is the problem I have. My kids literally
live with this guy.
No, worse than that. My kids are telling me he's shooting guns inside the house, just like he did back on this other report. I have pictures of the bullet holes in the house, coming through the garage and through different places in the house. I have my kids on video as I'm interviewing them, asking them these questions. Not under duress. I got all this. I'm going to see if I can put this on a website so people can see this crap and what's going on in this courtroom.
You should.
This is some crack symbol game. Until now, I'm one of these guys who believes in honoring, obeying, and sustaining the law.
Yeah.
I really do. But here's the problem that I have. This case has been sealed. And the case has
What do you think the case has been sealed?
It's been sealed to hide the criminal activities of Judge Sandra Pomerantz. What I mean by that is...
What's the case number?
The case number is D as in David, -16-538315-S as in Sam. That's D as in David, 16538-315-S.
So, because when they seal cases, they wipe the entire case off of the computer.
Well, I have sent her...
Which is against the law, by the way.
I have sent her the actual law. And the law says you cannot, under any circumstances, seal a case that involves a public hazard.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mean to be rude, but we got two major public hazards here.
Right. Yeah.
One of them is my son tried to kill himself at school, and then 2 weeks later, when that wasn't handled, he threatened to blow up Katz Elementary.
Your son threatened to blow up the school.
Yes.
Was the FBI involved?
Yes,
Homeland
he has a
Security?
permanent FBI record. Yes.
Oh, wow.
This is what happens.
So your son is mentally being.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Being challenged by this whole situation.
It's crazier than that. All of his teeth in his mouth on the bottom left jaw are missing. They're just gone.
Hold your son.
He's 10.
So he's got his adult teeth that are missing.
His adult teeth are missing. Same thing with my other son.
And hold
A bunch of his adult 9.
So there's pure neglect going on in that.
It's so, man, it's so bad.
How are you handling this, being a father to those children, knowing that your kids are in a war zone? Let's call it that. And your hands are tied. It's like they're just prisoners.
To be honest with you, I'm a praying man. I know it doesn't sound like that when I'm reading this and stuff like that.
Yeah, but you're just dictating off the report.
I am praying. There's in the night or morning or sometimes in the day when I'm not praying for my kids that they survive this. And Judge Sandra Pomerantz thinks this is a good idea.
And you already lost one son to the mother.
Yes, correct. She's responsible for the death of our 2-year-old. She tried to blame me for my son's death, even though I wasn't even there. I was at work at Friendly Ford.
Well, you did it to mental telepathy, probably.
Worse than that, she's on video during the incident. Then she tells Metro some big fat lie that I abused her and beat her and all this other stuff.
Could you give us the case number, the event number to that?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes.
So in case anybody wants to look it up, because there's a lot of lawyers watch the program.
Oh, yeah. Case number is 99004908. He was convicted of this too, by the way.
And what was he convicted of? We're talking about the
I'd have to pull it up out of this big
we're talking about your ex-wife's current husband.
Yes.
Who lives with your children.
Yes.
What was he convicted of in this report?
I believe he was convicted on this one for, hold on, I'll let me finish reading it, I'll tell you. C. Stuckey found a .38 black revolver with brown grips on the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. He also recovered an open container of what appeared to be an alcoholic beverage between the front seats. The bottle was about 2/3 full and was labeled with Cutty Shark Scotch. I went inside the residence to continue questioning Currington in the presence of her mother. She told me that Presley had gotten into an argument when he arrived home this evening and he had been drinking again. Presley told her he was leaving and went upstairs to his bedroom. When he came back down to the family room, he yelled at her, "I'm not some high school kid, girl. I will kill you." Currington said Presley then pulled a gun on her from behind and placed it to the back of her head.
This is the 15-year-old girl talking.
Yes, the girlfriend, his girlfriend's daughter, yes. And repeat.
Whoa, whose girlfriend's daughter?
Nathan Presley's girlfriend's daughter.
His girlfriend meaning your wife?
No.
So he has a girlfriend and your wife?
No, he has 2 wives currently. He's married to his current, yeah, I know, it's bigamy. He's married to his current wife in the Las Vegas Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint Temple. So he's married, and her name is Laura Muncie.
Okay.
Now, after being married to her, he's also married to Vanessa Loftis, my wife, under one of his alias, PRESSLEY, PRSSELY instead of LEY. Now, the reason he's married to her, and he married her under one of his aliases, is because you're not allowed to be consorting with a felon.
Right.
And so the problem is,
why isn't this guy behind bars?
he seems to be bulletproof. But the majority of the reason he's bulletproof is because of stupid-ass people like Judge Sandra Pomerantz. Judge Sandra Pomerantz, by the way, under law, when these things are presented to her and it's proven that someone has committed a crime, she is supposed to act as a judge.
She has a judiciary.
It's called judicial notice.
Right.
Yeah, she refuses to act on any of the crimes. And we have showed crime after crime after crime after crime after crime. I showed her the marriage certificate when they were married, which was August, right? She didn't get off of probation until December, right?
We're talking about your ex-wife.
Yeah, my ex-wife. Right. And she wouldn't have got off of probation if they knew she was violating.
Gotcha.
It's because of stupid people like Grimes as well. Grimes and Pomerantz are just in bed with each other.
Literally or figuratively?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Pomerantz is a little scared of COVID-19. So I think that
I intercepted an email saying that from Sandra Pomerantz saying that she wasn't going back to the bench until there was a cure for the COVID-19. So that means she's at home getting paid.
Being fat, dumb, and happy. Yeah,
she just wants to ride it out.
The truth of the matter is, I used to give a damn. I even gave a damn when my son tried to kill himself. But just recently, I came in contact with a person that had COVID-19 that was a friend of mine.
Okay.
And this friend does not want, because of HIPAA violation, they don't want their identity known.
Gotcha.
Me and my sons have been tested. We've come back negative so far, thank God.
And all of you were in the home with your friend that's positive with COVID.
Well, we were hanging out together.
Right.
And we didn't know that, he thought it was allergies. But he got tested and found out that he was positive with COVID-19.
Your friend?
Yeah, my friend.
Okay.
This guy. And the problem is that Judge Sandra Pomerantz, it's really odd. Mom took the kids for an entire month saying that her husband, who is 70 years old, you got to be 70 if you got 19 felonies, right? Who's 70 years old and prison escape.
Prison escape?
Yeah, prison escape too is in there. Yeah, he's a wonderful man. It's weird. What's going on is he claimed that because of his comorbidities, which is diseases that will affect you if you have COVID-19, that are additionally will pile on and could kill you.
Right.
Such as high blood pressure, diabetes, respiratory issues, those types of things. congestive heart failure, those kinds of things. Because of those, he would refuse to. I didn't see my kids for a month. You got
So your kids were quarantined with this guy?
No, he's not even on quarantine. Quarantine is when you actually come in contact with a person that has a disease, or you actually have the disease. That's what quarantine means. You can look this up under the CDC.
Okay.
This guy is isolation when you just don't want to get the disease. So Pomerantz, I guess, is in isolation. I don't know. But in any event, this guy kept my kids for an entire month. He said he kept my kids for a month. Well,
The felon.
This felon. Now, while his wife was doing a welfare check, right, on the kids, you couldn't make this up. This guy drives up to the Burger King on the corner of Rainbow and Cheyenne. He drives up there while police are there, while he's supposedly on quarantine. They had evidently moved. They had moved for 2.5 months, concealing the kids.
And this guy lives with your ex-wife?
Yes. This has all been disclosed to Judge Pomerantz. In fact, there's an NRS code that talks about what you need to do in order to identify if a person is at risk of running with the kids. And if they have one of these things, then you're supposed to not let them have the kids. These people have 9 of them.
And what are they?
Multiple names.
Okay.
Like she has 3 different names. Loftis, Lofits, as well as her normal name, which is Loftis, Loftis, and Loftuts, Loftus. He has multiple names. He cannot show you a birth certificate for his name that he's using, either PRESSLEY or PRESSLEY. And the reason I say he can't is because Mr. PRESSLEY uses his DD-214. He was dishonorably discharged from the military for running from combat service.
So he's a deserter?
He's a deserter, yes.
So how about your ex? Was she served in the military as well?
She served in the military, but she was HR, and she kind of got kicked out for being crazy.
So she got a mental discharge based on post-traumatic stress disorder?
No, she didn't serve in the combat role. She served in HR.
Yeah, I'm saying did she...
She never left the United States.
No, I'm just saying that she
Yeah,
was...
she's
The reason for the discharge.
She's on permanent
PTSD?
disability from the VA, permanent.
For
For
PTSD?
mental instability issues, not PTSD.
Was it TBI?
No, they call it...
Just local from birth?
I
or
call
what?
it crazy as hell, but but she...
How did she even get in the military to begin with?
I don't know, because, see, this is what we were having. My wife was halfway normal when she wasn't pregnant.
Okay.
Then when she got pregnant, she'd get crazy alpha foxtrot.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy alpha foxtrot. So
You think it's hormones? Or?
it was a hormonal deal. Now that she's getting older, she's crazy all the time now. Like, for example, we were in court one time and she said this, I'm quoting her. We were talking about, it was the first time we were in court, Judge, on the anniversary of my son's death. It was the very anniversary.
My condolence for your loss, by the way.
Oh yeah, I know, God's got this, and I will see my son again. King David, when he lost his son, everyone was scared to talk to him because he knew he was going to lose his son. The prophet Nathan, that's funny, came to him and told him, because of your sins, because of what you did with Uriah the Hittite and sleeping with his wife, Bathsheba got her pregnant, all this stuff, you're going to lose your son. So he turned around and he started fasting and praying before the Lord, trying to do anything he could to sway the Lord's mind. He begged the Lord. He wouldn't eat. He wouldn't do anything. And his servants started getting scared because they'd never seen him like this before. So then when his son died, the servants were scared to tell the king that his son was dead. They didn't know what he was going to do. Kill them. They didn't know. So he looks up at them and you can see that they're kind of pensive and don't want to deal with him. And he says, "Is the lad dead? Is my son dead?" And they said, yes, he is. And he cleaned himself up, washed his face, got something to eat. Whoa! You were just crazy a minute ago. Fasting, praying, doing all sorts. And now you're eating? And he said these words to them. I will see my son again. And so will I, if I continue to do the right things.
So now you're fighting for your 2 other sons.
I'm fighting so I don't have another son in a box.
Right.
So here's basically what I've noticed with all the people that we've had on about family court. Like every once in a while we'll get people on, and Steve and I after the show, I don't want to name names because they come in confidence, some of them. We're like, hey, you just weren't prepared. But then the ones that come in and are prepared like you and have all this documentation, and we see that a lot, it's almost like the judge in family court will automatically dismiss it. And I think a lot of it just has to do with the judges don't want to be proven wrong.
No, it's worse than that. I believe they're being paid off, and I believe it has something to do with Nevada court watchers. I believe they're a conglomerate. And if you get on the bad side of them, let me tell you, if you're a lawyer on the bad side of them, you'll lose every single one of your cases and you won't have a business in this town. And that's how they work. They always award, it's a business. It's about money.
Yeah.
Follow the money. Right. They always award the parent, the children, to the worst piece of crap parent that there is. And why do they do it? Because typically, the good parent has good finances too. And they'll fight and do anything they can to save their children.
To keep the caseload up.
Yes.
Right. Add more judges on and keep it going.
Yeah, and that's how that works. By the way, just to give you guys a heads up, you think this is bad? This ain't nothing.
What's the event number for that with the 15-year-old gun back of the head?
Well, let me finish reading it too while I'm at it. The case number in, I think, district court is 99004908.
Okay.
Even better than that. Let's just cut to the chase.
Sure.
This man is responsible for the deaths of 3 of his children. 3 of them.
What does that mean in layman's terms?
Okay, let's talk about layman's terms. One of his sons was shot in his presence 72 times.
By whom?
By someone. A drug deal went bad that he was involved in. And
we're still talking about
Nathan PRESSLEY.
Okay, the person that's married to your ex-wife.
Yeah. Yes.
And lived
under one of his aliases.
And lives with your 2 children.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So get this. This is what's crazy. They did a hit on his son in retaliation for one of his drug deals that went bad. By the way, his nephew was in the car too, and he was shot over 100 times. This happened in Minnesota. All right, it gets better.
That's kind of overkill, isn't it?
Well, evidently, if you're a druggie and you get involved in druggie people, I guess Pomerantz thinks it's a good idea. Pomerantz is aware of all of this. This has been written up, given to Pomerantz. The evidence has been given to Pomerantz. It's just stupid.
And what about the 3rd child that you mentioned?
The 2nd child?
You said the 1st child was shot 72 times.
Yes.
And the 2nd child was shot? No.
The 2nd one was his nephew.
Okay.
And it was in the same car.
The 2nd was his nephew that shot 100 times.
100 times, yeah. Then
that's a lot of lead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How did he die? Lead poisoning.
Okay, and
so the 2nd child turns around and is found in a field, face down, shot in the back of the head with a bullet in his brain.
So another drug deal went bad.
Another drug deal that he did that went bad.
Okay.
That, you know what I mean? His 3rd child, he was driving drunk on opiates because he's opiate addicted for 30 plus years.
Right.
Her name was Monique. So he was driving, got in a severe accident. She got hurt in the accident.
Okay.
But she had lupus and some other issues. She got an infection from the IV and ended up dying. She'd be alive today if he wasn't driving drunk.
Okay.
This man is driving back and forth my kids to school on opiates.
The same guy.
The same guy. 3 of his own kids. My ex-wife is responsible for the death of our son. Now, this is what's crazy. This is what I'm talking about crazy right here. My ex-wife, and I'm quoting her. That's one of the things that brought us together. We both have dead children together.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and said this in front of multiple witnesses.
I wouldn't want to have that in common.
Pomerantz knows of this.
Okay.
This is what I mean by criminal. You want to talk about criminal? Let's talk about criminal. I have a restraining order that was issued against me that caused me to lose my only job. I was driving Uber so I can have a 100% flexible schedule. Okay. For no reason, Pomerantz issued a restraining order. I sent you a copy. The restraining order isn't from Department P. It's from Department I.
And Department P is where Judge Pomerantz
Yes!
Who's an I?
Judge Cheryl Moss.
Why do you think Judge Moss is involved in your case now?
Well, all I can say is there's a case.
And did you get a restraining order without a hearing?
It was given by one of Pomerantz's lackeys.
No, I'm saying, was there a restraining order issued against you without a hearing?
You know, there was a hearing. It was given by one of Pomerantz's lackeys. One of them, his name is John Norheim.
Gotcha. He's a hearing master.
He's a hearing bastard, yeah. And then on top of that, they have another one. They had Aaron Truman.
Okay, let me stop you right there. Were you privy of that hearing for the TPO?
Oh yeah, it was totally illegally done. No due process, the same way that Pomerantz does everything.
So you
not allowed to talk.
So your due process rights was thrown out?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, what do you mean you didn't have you weren't allowed to talk? What does that mean?
I was not allowed to talk.
There's a restraining order going against you and you can't defend yourself?
Correct. They gave me the paperwork right before I entered the courtroom.
So how did you know there was a hearing?
Because they told me in court upstairs when I was in Pomerantz's chamber that there was a hearing, and Grimes said, "You better show up."
Which is the lawyer for your ex?
Yes, and a member of Nevada Court Watchers.
Okay.
See, this is corruption at its worst, and it hurts the most vulnerable and innocent among us, which is our children.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, let me finish this real quick. I'm not some high school kid, girl. I will kill you. Currington said. PRESSLEY then grabbed a gun from behind and placed it to the back of her head and repeated, "Girl, I will kill you." PRESSLEY immediately left the house after this, and Currington called the police. I talked with Tequila Tompkins, the niece of Currington, who was present during the argument. Her account of the incident was identical to Currington. A records check of PRESSLEY identified that he had a suspended driver's license as of through indefinite. Due to the combative nature of PRESSLEY, I did not perform a field sobriety test on him. I read him the Nevada implied consent law, and he agreed to a blood draw. I placed PRESSLEY under arrest for the following charges: assault with a deadly weapon, battery on a police officer, 2 counts, driving under the influence of alcohol, open container in the vehicle, driving on a suspended license, no insurance, and driving with a deadly weapon in the vehicle. Officer Hanks and I transported PRESSLEY to the North Las Vegas Detention Center, where he was booked and incarcerated on the above charges, which he was found guilty, by the way.
Did he do time?
I don't know.
Because that sounds like some years there.
No, I'm sure he didn't do hardly anything. He is a Mason and seems to have ties with the records department, which is very odd because there's a guy that runs the records department.
How would that stop you from I mean, was there a jury trial? Or?
Yeah, there was. But the question I have, how does this get in front of Pomerantz, that jackwagon, that old shrew? How does this get in front of her, and she's still going to put kids in harm's way?
Did you appeal to the Supreme Court? Or
no, I'm in the middle right now of asking for a writ to the Supreme Court.
Did you file a complaint with the AG's office?
We are in the middle of dealing with the Attorney General's office.
Did you file a complaint with the Judicial Discipline Commission?
Filed one, nothing happened of it.
File one on what? Did you file one based on this?
No, I didn't file one based on this.
Maybe you should.
You know what? I think I'm going to do that.
If you're concerned about this judge becoming a retired or senior judge, you need to file everything you can with the proper channels to make sure that doesn't happen.
But by the way, can I offer a shameless plug?
Sure.
If there's anybody that really is into fighting corruption, that knows something from the legal field, I could appreciate some help. This is a very high-profile case, and I could use your help. If there's anybody that can,
well,
please.
it would take a really, really strong attorney to take your case at this point. I'll tell you that right
tell me
now.
about it. I've been doing it myself.
You probably need a former federal prosecutor / family court attorney.
I got God, and it's working.
Okay.
I witnessed Margie Ordina, a registered nurse with a detention center, draw 2 vials of whole blood from PRESSLEY. I took custody, packaged, and booked the vials of blood into evidence in the North Las Vegas Police Department. A records check of the .38 revolver came back registered to Larry Broden.
Was the gun stolen?
The revolver was not reported stolen, and PRESSLEY said he got the weapon from a friend. I transported and booked the revolver and the 5 rounds of ammunition found in the cylinder into evidence at the North Las Vegas Police Station. This is what we're dealing with. And we're dealing with corruption where you have things coming from Department I, you know what I mean? Then she illegally extends the protection order. You have 45 days to extend the protection orders. She does it like 50-something days and extends it 9 months, you know what I mean? Causing me to lose my job. This is just criminal.
Right.
And the Attorney General's office?
Or you ordered to pay child support?
Yes. That's another issue that we're dealing with right now. I literally have no income, and she will not adjust the child support after causing me to lose my job.
She would have to adjust the child support if you prove that you are not making any money.
She is Judge Sandra Pomerantz. She shouldn't have to do anything but stay racist and die. I hope the second comes first.
That's pretty strong.
I'm serious. She's a bigot. And
could I get it? Because I want to get a copy.
Oh my gosh,
of these.
yes, dude. Hey, let me tell you something. You see this? This is just what I know of.
Okay, so let's just recap a little bit, Mr. Hall. You saying that the judge that you have in your custody battle is a racist, a bigot. Okay.
And I'm not saying
that. Hold on. That there were, because I've seen some stories on her saying that the nappy hair deal. I didn't see the one about you guys come back pregnant by the age of 16, but I did see the nappy hair story by the RJ. So okay, so she's a racist and a bigot. Your ex-wife in her custody was charged and convicted of felony child endangerment,
child abuse and neglect with substantial bodily harm.
Substantial body harm, which caused death of how old was that child?
He was 2.
He was 2 when he passed away.
Israel, just the cutest thing you've ever seen.
Rest in peace, Israel. And that child was found dead in her care.
Correct.
And then you have another child that attempted suicide at the school.
Yes.
And
got the paperwork for that too.
And wanted to blow up the school. So
yes.
that's a terrorist act right there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then both of your 2 sons that are remaining are missing their adult teats.
Yes.
Okay. And then your ex-wife who's married to this guy PRESSLEY with all these aliases.
Yes.
Who lives with your 2 children,
yes,
was convicted of 19 felonies.
Yes.
And you read one police report, he put a gun to the back of a 15-year-old. Yep. He shouldn't be having a gun being a felon.
Yep.
And
shooting guns inside the house.
Shooting guns inside the house. And this other police report, I forget what this one was about again.
That was when he stuck the gun in the girl in the head of the 15-year-old.
Yeah, this is this one, but what about this first one you read? I forgot.
That's the one where he's shooting the gun inside the house with his kids there. There were 1, 3, and I believe 5 at the time.
Okay. Yeah. And all of this, I mean, one of it would make a judge go, you ain't getting your kid, Mom. I'm gonna give the kid to Dad. But hold on. All of this, you being a service member or former service member of the military.
Yes.
Do you have any misdemeanors, felonies on your record, Mr. Burke?
No misdemeanors,
okay.
no felonies.
Do you have any child abuse allegations, or do you have any child abuse allegation that was founded?
No.
So you have none of that?
No.
Do you have an abuse of alcohol or drugs?
No.
Okay.
I don't drink and I don't smoke and never have.
So none of that. Why don't you have your kid?
This is what I mean. This is what I mean by bigotry.
Or kids, plural.
Bigotry is a strange thing. I'm the last guy on planet Earth to call bigotry because I grew up in Malibu. I don't believe in that. 99% of the race card being used isn't really real in my head. But there's some things that are so overwhelming that there can be no other explanation.
Okay.
And to watch the suffering that my sons have endured. You know, here's the deal. Pomerantz has sealed the case to hide her criminal behavior. All right? And the criminal behavior of the attorneys involved in the case.
Did you file any type of state bar complaint against Mr. Grimes?
No, I have not.
And if you did, what would you file it on?
Oh my God.
Just real quick, Mr.
One of the things that he does that's highly unprofessional and very hurtful. It used to hurt me. It doesn't really hurt me anymore. But he would, every single time he communicates, he brings up my dead son.
Okay.
Just to try to get me to do something provocative.
So he's trying to provoke you.
Yeah.
He's trying to provoke me.
Okay.
Which I think is completely unprofessional. Another unprofessional.
It's very uncompassionate, by the way.
It is. But who can say anything for people that belong to a lowbrow gutter club like NCW?
And what's the other things that you would complain about, Mr.
I would complain about the fact that he claimed that I didn't send him a video. I have a video of mom actually abusing our son.
You know, and if he knows mom is abusing your
yes.
son, he has a judiciary duty to report her to CPS.
Yes, but he has the video. He got the video. Frank Toady got the video. I'm coming for you too, Frank punk ass.
And who's Frank Toady?
He was the guardian ad litem that Sandra Pomerantz placed upon my children.
Okay.
My children, I literally listened to them tell him about the near-death experiences.
And Frank Toady gave $1,000 to Rena Hughes, who lost her bid in the primary. First judge since Gail Nathan to lose the bid in the primary since 2014.
Say goodbye to your 1,000, punk ass. All right, so and the next thing is that he's so unprofessional on so many levels. He does.
Who are we talking about now? Because
I'm talking about Melvin Grimes.
Grimes, okay.
And by the way, everybody listen up. He hates being called Melvin. Call him Melvin every opportunity you see him. But he does criminal stuff. He knows of this stuff. He knows of the abuse. Mm-hmm. He has a fiduciary responsibility, not fiduciary, but a judicial responsibility as a court officer. Mm-hmm. He lies under the witness stand. He accuses me falsely of things, like, for example, the bullet.
So you're saying that Melvin Grimes perjured himself?
Yes. In fact, in the house, when the bullet holes, I showed the actual pictures of the bullet holes coming through the house. Okay. And Melvin Grimes accused me of shooting up the house.
Well, this is what I would suggest if I was you, Mr. Hall, and I know that you've been through the ringer with this. I would make sure that I file judicial discipline complaints against Judge Sandra Pomerantz.
I will definitely.
I would put a big packet together and I would send it express mail and I would file it. All right, that's what I would do. I would also file a complaint with the state bar against Mr. Melvin Grimes.
I will do both, but here's the problem I have with Pomerantz. Pomerantz has denied my ability to get transcripts, former paupers. Okay.
Well, you know something, the judicial discipline, just give them the case number, and you could even add that in there saying that you're denied transcript. Although you're an improper person, you're supposed to get your transcript because you're representing yourself.
Which I am.
I would put that in the complaint so that the commission would know. The
problem is that she's taken my job intentionally just to make things go tougher. And therefore, so she's given me former pauper status for everything else, but what I need to complain and go to the next level to deal with her.
Okay. We're running out of time. I'm sure we could probably go another hour, huh, Jim?
Yeah. Right.
I would like you, Mr. Hall, to look in the camera and just sum up and just tell folks how this family court system is a corrupt entity that we need to like bring a bulldozer and just sweep it up or whatever. Explain.
Here's the deal. I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, because I'm at peace with my son's death. I know I will see my son again. But we, as former members of the military, have taken an oath to protect and defend our citizens against enemies, foreign and domestic. Let me make something very clear. Nobody should bury their 2-year-old son and then have to go through this. Everyone looks at me all the time and they're like, Mr. Hall, look at what you've gone through. Imagine what these 2 little baby boys are going through right now. What I'm going through is nothing compared to my son's having to live with the monsters that he's dealing with every day. They sat there in front of the agents from the Attorney General office, and they cried when were told that they had to go back to their mom today. The Attorney General took them and gave them back to mom, even though I sent them all this evidence too. These are the people that are really suffering, is these little boys. Listen, I'm one person. If they will do this to me, they will do this to anybody. And there isn't a guy that's got a cleaner record than me. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything. I'm Mormon, I don't do anything. If they will do this to me, they will do this to anybody. I would really appreciate if the Attorney General office would go in and clean that steaming turd up in there called the family court, or at least if the justices in the Supreme Court would come down here and put the smackdown on these morons. And I'm not kidding when I say this, but Steve has it correct. We need to put a jury in this situation. A jury isn't perfect, but let me tell you what a jury will do. A jury will stop 99% of this stupid. A jury trial, making this done with a jury, will make it almost virtually impossible to hurt people like they've been hurting them. Last but not least, we have some people coming up next. I want to say something before they show up. We have 3 heroes in my family. Obviously our military and obviously our firefighters. But those to us in law enforcement are more special than both of those combined. And the reason being is because when the bell rings, firefighters know exactly what the Sam Hill they're going into. Us in the military, they drop us in freaking LZs. We know what we're going into. But these men and women are different. They walk around in uniforms called a marked target. They don't even know if it's the last morning they're going to see their baby girl, possibly for the last time ever. Even the scriptures speak of these men and women. It says, greater love hath no man until he's willing to lay down his life for his brothers or his friends. And these men and women do it for perfect strangers every single day. God bless them and God bless their families. We can't say enough about these men. Bad people don't like them because they're bad people. Turn lights, cockroaches scattered for the dark how it works. Even the drug dealers call them, they have a damn problem. It's shameful. Enough said. I want to personally thank Steve and all the things that his crew, that you guys together have done for us. And let me tell you why, because there's nobody, and I mean virtually nobody, fighting the corruption in the family courts. Everybody and their granny has come up to me. Well, if you just get away from Steve, maybe you wouldn't have all these problems. You know what? I don't mean to be rude, but I put my life on the line for this damn country. All right? So that I could have the right to speak and do what I want to. Why in the hell is Steve such a threat? It's because he's doing the right thing. I want you guys to really step up your support of Steve. Because nobody else is doing what he's doing. And you have my word of honor on that. I've been around the block a few times. Enough said.
Thank you. Folks, that's Mr. Burke Hall, who is exposing the corruption in the Clark County family court system. And we really need reform in the Clark County family court system. We really do. We really, really, really do. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas for Veterans in Politics. Until next time.